This podcast is brought to you by JList.com. Did you know that JList.com also owns and operates Just USA, one of the internet's best producers of visual novels and hentai games? You can head over to Just USA and check out some of their newest titles, such as Kazue's Strange Journey, Love, Cubed, Catgirl Alliance, Yumina the Ethereal, You, Me, and Her, a love story, and tons of other games with almost a 30-year history over at Just USA. And all these brand new titles, most of them are at $20 or less. So head over to JustUSA.com for all your visual novel and hentai game needs, and you'll be supporting this podcast as well. And now, time to start the show.
来てくれてありがとう. You're listening to the Anime Addicts Anonymous podcast. Take your anime addiction to the next level at aaapodcast.com/join. And now, here are your anime addicts.
Episode 536 of the Anime Addicts Anonymous podcast. We are back. Welcome. We are here to make your anime addiction worse.
That's right.
I am Mandi, one of 3 hosts today, and I am joined by Mitsuki. Hello.
I'm back from the mountains. I'm cooked. Well, I didn't get cooked that badly, but I am beaten up. I fell several times, and I look like I got run over by a car, honestly, but still here. I have all my fingers and toes, ready to talk about anime.
That's good. We are also joined by Mason. Hello, welcome.
Hello there. I'm back from the Michigan, and Buffalo.
What?
Longest sentence you can make with just one word, baby.
And I've been sitting here in my apartment all weekend. Hey guys. So, what do we have coming up in the show? A lot of stuff. But first, you can join us by going to aaapodcast.com/join, create an account, and you can get all of our bonus content. You can get hentai episodes, after parties, where we talk about literally anything. Hobby Addicts, which today Mitsuki talked about his trip. I talked about a little iOS game. And we have a special hentai episode tonight. I hope everybody watched the show.
Oh, yeah.
I'm ready. I think
okay, good.
Too spicy for the regular podcast.
Oh, I didn't follow up with you guys. I'm like, I hope I'm not the only one who watched it. But we'll be doing a review of the review show, Interspecies Reviewers. So,
Oh my god!
Join up and you can get that content as well.
Just a lot of fun.
And I actually had a lot of fun watching
I
it.
did too.
It was so silly. But yeah, so you can also follow us on Twitch to get updates on when we are streaming. We stream live every Sunday at 5 p.m. EDT. And you can also join us on Facebook under the groups, the AAA podcast group, and also follow us on Twitter by the same name. And Caroline, our social media person, will keep you updated on everything that we have going on in all of our clubs and fan art and a bunch of other stuff that we have for you to enjoy. And if you can join us on Discord, which is probably the place to follow us, you can find a button for that on our website, aaapodcast.com. Join up, and we have clubs for you to come and join and also talk to your other anime addicted friends. So what do we have going on in Anime Club?
So in Anime Club, this week we are going to be discussing Kids on the Slope, the MAPPA show from a couple years back that is amazing. It's a jazzy musical experience that it's a ton of fun. So we're going to watch that whole season and talk about it August 12th. So hopefully you've been paying attention and will be able to join us for that. You just jump in voice chat and then we give our opinions and have a good old chat about it, and then have a whole after party where we talk about probably food or something, because I'll be there. But yeah, it's a good time. So 10 p.m. EDT, August 12th. See you there.
Last Wednesday we talked about which hat I always call it a Atelier. People keep telling me it's wrong. Atelier?
Just call it Atelier, Mandi. Just let it go.
Ateliers?
Atelier. Yeah.
which had manga, and it was so delightful. It was just overwhelmingly positive. I love that manga series so much. But our manga clubs also turn into food talk afterwards. French fries and all kinds of stuff. But our next meeting will be on August 19th, and we'll be discussing the first 2 volumes of Oh Maidens in Your Savage Season. So join the Discord and get that. You can come join us at 10 p.m. EDT, August 19th, and you don't even have to talk if you don't want to. You can just come and listen.
Mandi, would you say that Witch Hat had probably the most universal acclaim of all the manga we've talked about? Like,
I wouldn't say. I think the only other one I can think of is My Lesbian Experience with Loneliness. That one was overwhelmingly positive, and that group was much larger than what we had for Witch Hat. Although Witch Hat was still pretty big.
It was pretty big, and I think everyone was vibing with it. So
yeah, we didn't have anybody who had a negative thing to say about it. So it was just fantastic. So today we are going to be talking about the Science Saru Studio Spotlight, which is Yuasa's studio.
Oh, yeah.
And after that, we'll be doing our 3rd round of impressions for the summer season, which is crazy to me because I thought this was the last round of impressions. It's only 3rd, guys. I feel like time is going very slowly.
Another one.
We'll be doing impressions on ReZero Season 2, Ninja Collection, the Millionaire Detective, Balance Unlimited, and Japan Sinks. So stick around, don't go anywhere, and have fun with us. Hang out and chat.
Yeah.
Hi, chat. How are you?
Hi, chat. All right.
Ready for big news?
Let's get started.
It's time for big news of the week.
Well, it's big news, but it's also kind of sad news. Some people probably won't care, but some people will. So Studio Arms is now bankrupt. So they've been saying this is coming for a while. I think that the coronavirus really didn't do... they said there's like 40% or something of all the anime studios are operating in the red right now, and so now that anime hasn't been coming out the way it was in the prior quarters, it's just even tougher. And although I don't think that was really the reason why Studio Arms went under, but they are now bankrupt. Little history on Studio Arms: it was originally established to produce adult animation and handle Studio Piero's subcontract productions. So some of the labels that they've made, I guess hentai under, was working on titles with adult animation labels like Pink Pineapple and Green Bunny. So people that listen to our hentai episodes might recognize those labels. But
Wait, does that mean there's no more Pink Pineapple?
No. I think that they just like they just like
they
co-produced
the stuff.
Yeah.
I was gonna say that was crazy. Okay, cool.
No, it's okay. Don't panic. So, but they have done
content.
I know, that's half of our hentai content.
It's most of the better stuff too, to be honest. So they have made a lot of anime that people know of too. Like you may just not realize it. So they've been involved pretty heavily in like Mezzo Detective Service Agency, I think Mezzo DSA, which by the way Mezzo Forte is a hentai too. But back in 2004, their first television anime was Mezzo DSA, which I've seen, and it's got some pretty awesome action scenes in it. And then in 2015 onward, the studio was working with Genko to and helped them with a lot of works like Valkyrie Drive, Mermaid, Queen's Blade, Ikitosen, Western Wolves. So this is pretty much the studio behind Ikitosen. So if you're like a big fan of Ikitosen when that came out back in like 2009, which was their biggest financial success, they made a crap load of money on Ikitosen, but that was 11 years ago. So, but they made $3.4 million of revenue in 1 year off Ikitosen, which I guess is a lot. In today's dollars, it's probably like $4 million, and that's a lot for an anime studio that's small to bring in that kind of money. But they're also known, and these are the titles that they're the most known for. So they're known for Elfen Lied, Genshiken 2, the Mao Yusha, or the arch enemy and hero. Or I don't think we ever covered that one, but they just not been doing well since their success with Ikitosen. They've lost a ton of money every year, pretty much. for the most part since then. And in May this year, the company had a shareholders meeting and decided to liquidate its assets to pay its debts. The Tokyo District Court on July 22nd told them basically that they have to. They've received a liquidation order, so it's not like they're going to restructure. They're just going to liquidate. So no more studio arms, which is, and I gotta say, this is the case with a lot of anime studios. But like, if you guys look at the picture in the show notes, and I really should put this in the Twitch for you guys, but
Just the cars?
it's just like some of these studios, like you probably could drive right by them in Japan and just think that they were like abandoned buildings or something, and they're literally anime studios. So that's
It
literally.
does look like it used to be like an Arby's or something.
It looks like it's like it looks like an old closed like car repair shop that just left a bunch of crap, like busted up cars out in front. So it just, and this was the case with like KyoAni too. Like we saw the KyoAni building when we were all in Japan, and it's just amazing. Like that some of these places, even like the famous ones, they operate very like frugally, I guess. They probably have to, but I'm gonna post this picture. But how you guys feeling about this?
First of all, if you're seeing me laugh, it's not because of this article. They're talking in chat about how we started on time today. It has
Stunning.
blew everybody's name, or just blew everybody's mind. Sorry. Yeah, it was just cracking me up. But
Oh yeah, we're like not 10 minutes late.
I honestly, I didn't even know what kind of stuff they did, so I feel bad.
Mandi.
Like I knew about Elfenlied. I just, for some reason, I never really acknowledged what studio did it, but I don't know. That sucks.
I just hope the animators can just find a place in the future, because
Yeah.
obviously the need for them is going to come back. It's hopefully just a short-term thing that they can recover from. Even if the studio doesn't persist, at least the workers can find a new role. So I think that's the best we can hope for.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm trying to find another, like a list of their other well-known stuff. So they
I
did
am as well.
Hagude.
It's probably a bunch of stuff that I've seen, just didn't know who did it.
There's a shitload of stuff here. Like they've got 80 credits on Mao. So they did Hagude, Yusha, no, Aesthetica. A lot of these are like doing straight up Japanese. Isuka, which came out in not that long ago, till 2015. Like I said, Genshiken 2, Queen's Blade, Wizard Barristers. They worked on A Kite, so that kind of sucks because I like Kite pretty well. A ton of Ikitosa and some other things. Joshi Kosei, Girls High. I think we covered. No, that was before we started. So yeah, so another pretty prolific and historical studio has gone under.
Out of all these, I think Elfenlied's the only one that I've seen. I'm looking through this list. I'm like, nope. Well, that and Kite, but.
Yeah, who hasn't seen Elfenlied? I mean, that's like, I don't know, the shock value anime of the 90s or 2000s, I guess. So.
Yeah, I haven't seen any of these.
So. All right. Well, should we move on?
Mm-hmm.
This next one's for Mandi for sure.
It's time for hot new anime releases.
Hi guys, this is hot new anime releases for Mandi, and the first one is the second season of Beastars. It's coming out in January of 2021. Ooh, so soon. For some reason, I feel like I thought that it was going to be like the end of next year. But
surprise!
Yeah, this one we covered the first season, which was on Netflix, and we rated it pretty highly. And so this one will continue on with the story. I don't know what volumes it's going to be. It says the wraparound jacket on 20th issue of the Beastars manga announced that the second anime will be premiering winter of 2021. Oh wait, that is January. I'm sorry, my brain got mixed up.
Yeah.
That is the end of next.
Sorry, that's the winter season, not
season.
My bad. Yeah, sorry, I wrote that. That was confusing.
But yeah, so that's exciting, and I can't wait for more. And then also, finally, we are getting a shamisen anime. This one is called Mashiro no Oto. And to clarify, we did have a shamisen anime, but it was a movie, and I wasn't a fan. Out of everything else, that was the only one I could even think of. I think someone asked the mailbag question, like somewhat recently, what kind of music anime would you like to see? And I said shamisen.
Oh my
I
gosh.
would love it.
Well,
But here we are. Now we're getting an actual series for it. And it is scheduled to release in April of 2021.
they're listening.
The director is Hiroaki Akagi, who worked on Takagi-san. The character designer is Majima Jiro, who worked on Banana Fish. And the studio is Shin-A Animation, who I don't know. Have they done anything?
They've done Sweetness and Lightning.
Yeah.
That's, I
Oh,
think, what
okay.
I've seen by them.
That was a cute show.
Yeah, that
It
was a really
was.
cute show.
I like that one.
So, yeah, out of the art that I've seen so far, at least, keep in mind, only from what I've seen, I thought this one looked really cool too. The voice actor for the main character is going to be Nobunaga Shimazaki, who worked on Sword Art Online. And the synopsis is teenager Sawamaru Setsu's grandfather, who raised him, and his older brother Wakana recently passed away. His grandfather was one of the greatest shamisen players, and the two siblings grew up together, listening to him play and learning how to play the instrument. And since their grandfather's death, Setsu dropped out of high school, moved to Tokyo, and has been drifting, not knowing what to do besides play his shamisen. And that's when his successful and rich mother, Umeko, storms into his life and tries to shape Setsu up. She enrolls him back into high school, and little does Setsu know that he is about to rediscover his passion for the shamisen. That's exciting. It's kind of interesting that it's a modern anime, like set in modern times, than instead of like, you know, like ancient Japan shamisen.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
don't know, like Edo period. But yeah, no, it's really cool. It's exciting.
Yeah, I watched the trailer, and I like that. I like it. Just I don't know. It gives me a vibe. Now I'm not gonna say like, oh, it'll be this good, but it gives me sort of a Showa Gendoku vibe because it seems it's
Yeah.
and it's because it's Japanese art for the for lack of a better word. Music is art as well. So Japanese art being performed. So totally different. I have no idea that the show will even remotely feel the same when we're watching it, but at least basic level themes. It kind of gives me that feeling. So and that's a good feeling.
Yeah, from the trailer, it sounds like it actually has some really good shamisen music. The movie Nitabo, I watched that, and like for most of it, I was like, "Where's the shamisen music?"
I was premise shamisen.
Where is it?
Shamisen.
Not like a full orchestra. I was like, "What?"
So I didn't watch
So,
the
I'm
trailer for
excited.
this, but the summary that Mandy read kind of reminded me of Kono Oto Tamare, that Koto
Same.
one.
Even
Where
the
it's like the
art
death of
kinda reminded
someone
me.
kind of revisiting a classical instrument. So
Yeah.
if we get good shamisen music, I'm game.
Even the art, like the trailer that I watched, kind of reminded me of
Okay.
Kono Oto. So I'm excited though. I love the shamisen, and I can't wait. Maybe I'll finally learn how to play a song.
I'll
I have a shamisen. It's up there. I'll bring it to my impression.
Oh
play
man,
it during the impression. That would be
that would be a treat.
have to practice.
Yeah.
That was like a banjo.
Oh, my bad.
I'll banjo my way through it.
I seem to recall a conversation you had with us about the shamisen a while back, and you were talking about something about the size of the paddle or whatever the hell it's called that you play with.
It's huge, yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah, it's huge.
The bachi.
The bachi it must be hard to hold if it's so
I'll
big.
show you. Mine is wooden. They have different kinds. I got the wooden one because it's cheaper. They have ones that are made out of tortoise shells.
Oh,
That
what the
I
hell?
don't know how those would feel, but my wood one is. It's so big for my tiny little hands.
Have you guys heard of that tortoise that lives on that island off the coast of Africa? It's like 200 years old or some shit. You gotta look that up. It's the longest. It's the oldest living animal of any
Organism or
kind,
something?
and it's literally almost 200 years old. Or it's insane. You should look it up.
I believe it.
He's like the whole island is like dedicated to that turtle. He's huge. Okay,
Turtles
well,
all the way down.
yeah, he's just a cute old turtle boy. So for trivia, we don't have any trivia this week. I was unable to acquire the information I needed to formulate the trivia, but there is new trivia on the website now. So if you want to go over there now, you can play the trivia. It's down towards the bottom of the page on the right side, and the current theme is now Caroline's lesser known favorites. So we're just gonna keep going through all of the so I guess quote unquote
people who
staff.
show up? I'm
The important. Oh
Ooh.
wow.
Ooh,
Do I have, like-
felt that
didn't
burn from
say
over
that.
here.
Do I have like an ouch? Oh wait, that's better. Mandi has spoken. So, wow.
What? I didn't hear anything. That
Apply
was just
ice directly.
pure
to
evil.
surface.
Man, that was a really weird belch I had.
Do I just have like a drop of like someone being injured? I
Just
don't
like
know.
a simmering like.
It's like Mandi's just going through the
Play
office.
the shit on your face.
Oh. Do I have that drop? Just oh.
I'm gonna shit on your face.
Yes, I do.
There you
Wow.
go.
Why is that one still on the soundboard? Okay.
Did you
Because it's
hear it just now?
amazing.
It's just chaos.
I thought that answered itself.
My girlfriend just stopped by the podcast table and she dropped me off. Oh my god, 3 taquitos from 7-Eleven. Wow. That's angel shit right there. Speaking of greasy food that we talked about in the Hobby Addicts, I think Mason was talking about.
Yeah, that was.
So
Good time.
taquitos, that'll get things moving. All right, so
So we don't have website trivia for you, but we do have in-show trivia for you to keep you occupied while we go to our news break. So, first one is, the famed 55-year-old director Masaki Yuasa was born in what well-known major southern Japanese city? Think about it, and we'll give you the answer in just a bit.
Anime Addicts, this is Mitsuki, and I'm bringing you your anime news break. Leading us off with an anime announcement. The manga Peach Boy Riverside is going to be getting an anime adaptation, broadcasting in summer of 2021, so that's about a whole year away now. Pretty long lead time. The director is Shigeru Ueda, who worked on March and Maidchen, and the studio is going to be Asahi Productions. The story is the story of a bright and cheerful princess who wants to go on an adventure because she is bored of her little tiny castle in the countryside. And one day, a horde of vicious demons come knocking on her doorstep, threatening the lives of everyone in the kingdom. Thankfully, they are saved by a lone traveler named Mikoto, who slays these monsters with a mysterious peach eye. Shocked by the dangers of the outside world, she decides to set off on a journey of her own. Little did she know that what she does would set in motion a chain of events that will come to determine the fate of the magical world. So, fantasy adventure show, clearly. So if you're a fan of Peach Boy Riverside, check out that coming out next year. Next up, Asahi Broadcasting Group Holdings has acquired the rights to Studio Silverlink as a subsidiary, which actually had just merged with Studio Connect in a prior news story that we had maybe 3 or 4 weeks ago. So they have merged the two together, and in a financial initiative, it looks like Asahi Broadcasting Group has been experiencing some decline in broadcasting sales over the recent past. So maybe this is an initiative to recoup some of that. Silverlink, of course, founded by Hayato Kaneko in December of 2007, and has had titles such as Nodame Cantabile, A Tale of Melodies, Higashi no Eden, or Eden of the East, and others. So a very popular studio. Next up, some pretty sad news. The Sega Akihabara Building 2 arcade is going to be closing in August 30th. So this is the big arcade that's got 6 or 7 floors in Akihabara. It looks like they are citing coronavirus as the reason why they're going to be shutting down, because the arcades just haven't been open. People have been trying to crowdfund in order to make up the lost revenue from the arcades, but I guess it just wasn't enough. So the arcade was established in 2003 under the name Akihabara Gigo, and in 2017 it was renamed to its current name, Sega Akihabara Building 2. It closed on April 8th due to the COVID-19 and reopened on June 12th, but I guess it was the financial loss was just too steep for them. So pretty sad to see a historical building in Akihabara go down, and hopefully the other arcades are doing better, as there are several in Akihabara. Next up, PlayStation 4 has reached 112.3 million units worldwide sold, which makes it, I believe, the number 2 most selling game console of all time, and puts it sort of within striking distance of the PS2, which we'll see. A PS2's up in like the 150 million range for a console, so doubt that'll happen with the PS5 coming out, but pretty exciting to see the PlayStation continuing to be successful as time goes on. This is Mitsuki, and this was your anime news break. And now, of course, time to get back to the podcast. Hey, all you anime addicts, we all know about JList.com by now, but have you also heard about Just USA? Just USA is owned and operated by JList and is one of the internet's best producers of visual novels and hentai games. You can head over to Just USA and check out some of their newest titles. They have an awful lot of selection for you to choose from. Choose from things like Kazue's Strange Journey, Love, Cubed, Catgirl Alliance, Yumina the Ethereal, You, Me, and Her, a love story. A lot of these titles are around $20 or less, so you can go over there and get a pretty cool title for not a whole lot of money that you can enjoy. Head over to Just USA for all of your visual, novel, and hentai game needs. And when you're done with that, head over to JList.com for all of your anime and manga needs as well.
Oh, yes! My queen!
ザ・アニメアディクツアノニマスポッドキャストプレゼンツカズオ vs ザ・キャットバス
What do you got for number one?
I have the cat bus from My Neighbor Totoro. Shichi Kokoyama Hospital.
Okay.
That's where the cat bus goes.
Yeah, but like, what are the cat bus's combat abilities?
It has the most powerful headlights in history on its eyeballs. It could blind you drastically with its eyeballs.
That's the
It
worst.
it can run on telephone wires. You know how nimble that is? That agility.
All right,
Such
you know
agility,
what?
such grace. Let me ask you a question.
Yes.
Does the cat bus not have about 10 legs?
Does it have 10 legs? Yes, true.
Do cats have claws?
Yeah.
How many claws does a cat have on every paw?
Oh, I don't know, like
It's 5.
5? Okay.
That is 50 razor sharp blades coming
But
at you.
look at it.
It's like a bowling ball covered in butcher knives. It's coming at your
First-
ass. Yeah, that cat bus is terrifying. That son of a bitch is coming at you.
It does look terrifying.
It's literally screaming all the time. It would take you to the Shichi Kokoyama Hospital after it beats your ass.
It's
Yeah,
gonna
it
beat your
would.
ass and take you to the hospital.
Yeah.
And now back to the podcast.
The very fine, soft, late nighttime soothing tunes of Chopin's Raindrop Prelude.
To accompany a discussion about a murdering cat bus.
That's right. I'm telling you right now. So, the famed 55-year-old, I didn't know he was 55. Older than I thought. Masaki Yuasa was born in what well-known major southern Japanese city? It might be the largest city on the what the hell's the furthest island called? Kyushu, maybe? And it's Fukuoka. He was born in Fukuoka. So.
Props to K-Log W in the chat for getting that one.
Damn, that's a fucking...
impressive.
that was a hard-ass trivia question.
I think
Yeah.
it was a bit of a Hail Mary on their part, but nonetheless, point's a point.
Google cheater. Just kidding.
I believe in him or her, whoever it
We
is.
believe
I
it.
believe in you.
Yeah, so it's Fukuoka is the capital of the Fukuoka Prefecture. It sits on the northern shore of the Japan's Kyushu Island, known for all sorts of stuff. 1.6 million people, which I'm just gonna guess probably makes that the biggest city in Kyushu. Because what else is down there? Let's see. We got we have Kita Kyushu, and Kumamoto, but I doubt those are bigger. All right. So, on that note, we have Mandy's Manga Minute.
We do.
Speaking of directions and things, we also have many cardinal directions in this manga title. Are you ready, Mandy?
Yeah, right? It's a long one. I'm ready.
And now let's take a minute for the manga minute with Mandi.
This is Mandy's Manga Minute, where I take a minute to tell you about a manga and help you find something new to read. And this one is called Go North with the Clouds, North by Northwest. Very specific.
Wait, is it go north with the clouds or go with the clouds?
It says Go North with the Clouds. Oh, no, you're right. It does say Go with the Clouds. I added a north in there.
Just double check it.
Go with the Clouds, North by Northwest. Still long. Anyways, Kei Miyama is a 17-year-old with 3 secrets. He can talk to cars, he can't handle pretty girls, and he works as a private investigator. One case has him searching for a beloved dog, another involves reuniting a woman with a man she fell for at first sight. And then comes a case which strikes close to home, searching for his own little brother. Go With the Clouds is a mystery slice of life, written and illustrated by Aki Irie. It is still publishing with 3 volumes currently available in English. And similar to the manga that I did last week, which was the Wandering Witch one, Go With the Clouds also has kind of a Kino's Journey vibe to it, so I'm kind of on a roll here. I might have to just rewatch Kino's Journey. But the manga follows the young man Kei as he travels around Iceland as a detective, solving random mysteries. He also has the ability to speak to cars, but the manga never really confirms if he is actually speaking to them or if he's just delusional. But I kind of like that it keeps that a mystery and never really acknowledges it. He just talks. Sorry.
I was gonna say, it sounds like a terrible, like, drinking game, like the 2 truths and a lie. He's like, pretty girls make me nervous. I'm a private investigator, and I can talk to cars. Which one's the lie?
Which one's the lie? But Kei seems to be content with living a lonely life, yet most of his cases involve bringing 2 people back together, whether it's a family, or like a family member, old lovers, or acquaintances. And EDA's beautiful art style in this gives the manga an almost fantastical feeling to it. She does a great job of filling the backgrounds with details without drowning out the main characters. And her line work gives the illusion that kind of everything is just constantly moving. And if you've read her previous work, Ron in the Grey World, which I did a manga minute on a while ago, you'll kind of have an idea of how this manga looks. And also Ron with the Grey World, I believe I said the artwork's beautiful, but the story's kind of weird. So if you also thought, man, this looks really intriguing, but Ron the Grey World just feels a little, you can give this one a try. I thought the first volume, which is all I've read so far, was very intriguing and leaves off on a interesting cliffhanger. So I am interested in continuing the series. So if you also like mysteries and slice of life, check it out.
Man, you always has something to bring to the table. Odds of this one becoming an anime, 0 to 100.
Ooh, I don't know. This one's still relatively new, I believe. I think it came out 2016 in Japan, not over here. I think it's newer over here. I don't know. I don't really have any odds. I'd say it has a decent chance. Not a strong one.
Mandi has spoken.
I think it has a decent chance.
Let it be known. So it is so. Welp there. You know what? Where's my whelp there?
Well, there it is.
There it is.
That it is.
You know, they also say...
More stuff in Iceland.
Yeah.
They also say that in Jurassic Park, Jeff Goldblum goes, life finds a way. And then, like, the dinosaur's hatching, and he goes, and, well, there it is. Anyway, on that note, as life also continues and to be born and find a way to exist, arguments will also continue to exist in this world. Won't you say so, Mason?
I do believe.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's get ready to rumble!
Welcome back. We are in the home stretch of the final couple entries of the anime arguments segment, I guess. Looking to try different things, so we're cleaning out the vault with the last couple ones. So, is
this going to be a discontinued segment, Mason?
Eventually, you know me. I flip and I flop and I go from one to another.
Because I'll take it off the mailbag page.
I think we got a couple of good ones.
He's a
left.
flippy floppy boy.
But if you have any hot takes, unpopular opinions, or questions for us, that's what the mailbags are for. So if you've got something you want to submit, just go to our website, aaapodcast.com, go to the top, there's a mailbag button, and that's the best place to submit your stuff. So today's argument comes from Garrus 4016, and they write, Demon Slayer does not deserve to be the most hyped ongoing shonen anime. The only thing that makes it stand out is the animation, and the rest of it is painfully metacore and paint by numbers shonen.
Metacore? That sounds like a
Mediocre. Mediocre.
Transformer.
That sounds like a genre of music.
Metacore.
You have like mathcore, metalcore, metacore,
Nightcore.
mediocre.
That's my favorite Beast Wars Transformer. Metacore.
I don't think that's a word.
Anyways.
Mediocre. Okay.
Mediocre. It just means so painfully forgettable. But so I feel like shonen is in a weird thing because I think shonen is a obviously wide branching genre, but I feel like you have to kind of separate it because I feel like you have the long running shonen shows like Seven Deadly Sins, One Piece. I'd put Black Clover in there, DBZ, Fairy Tail, Boruto. Like those are all things that have been going on for so long that I can understand why those aren't as like hyped in this moment because they've been around so long. Like you can't sustain that level of all systems go fan communities going off constantly in the same way that a new show can. To an extent, I'd almost put Haikyuu in that boat because it's.
Did Fairy Tail end? I thought Fairy Tail ended.
It ended. I think it's over.
Yeah.
I believe you. Shows how much I pay attention to some of these ongoing things.
I think it's done.
Ended by now.
They're all ended. This is all a lie.
but I would put Demon Slayer in kind of like the new genre of stuff. You have like your Dr. Stone, your Fire Force, and like My Hero Academia. The ones that are like, in a sense, like carrying the torch from the old guard. So I think that yes, it does follow the paint by numbers formula well, but I feel like that's part of the appeal for it. Like it has so much of the same story beats that people go to that genre for, that to have it executed so well with that animation is kind of makes it deserving of, you know, being one of the better ones and hyped about. Because I feel like the other shonen stuff are kind of more out there, like Promised Neverland, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, like, and even Attack on Titan to a sense feel like, yes, they're shonen, but they're not quite in the same vein. So I don't think like you can count them as like, oh, they're a hype shonen, because they are hype shonen shows, but I don't know, I feel like to be in that category you almost need to follow the formula. So I guess I don't have a problem with Demon Slayer getting the hype. I think it looks pretty, and I think when the train arc movie comes out, I think it'll keep on going. And there's always going to be a hot new thing, and it just so happens to be what's popular.
Demon Slayer's also over. they finished that real quick, so we'll see how that goes. I've heard mixed things on the.
Oh, you're talking about the manga?
Yeah.
Okay, I was over. Like, yeah, the anime is still going, but yeah. So, I don't know. I like when shonen get in and get out. I think that's just me though.
I mean, so I personally think that the things that make shonen great are also the things that turn other people off about it. And I think maybe Mandi spoke about this in like maybe the last episode, but there's like a comfort level of shonen where people have something they expect, and that's what they get with shonen most of the time, which is actually why I like Dr. Stone so much, because it just didn't feel like normal shonen. It felt different. Like watching him invent and build things was just not something I was used to seeing. But Demon Slayer, like I sort of agree and disagree with the mailbag, or I guess the argument is, yes, it had better animation, and yes, I think most of the reason why people liked it was because of how it looked. Personally, I thought Demon Slayer was content-wise pretty run-of-the-mill, but I think that it did the same comfortable thing that other shonen have done a million times, just a little better than most. And so, you know, but I feel the same way about My Hero. Like, you know, like there's a My Hero net animation episode coming out that I'm going to talk about in a mailbag. And what are they doing? They're doing like a forest survival test or something. It's like, okay, well, Naruto did that like 14 years ago. So, you know, it's not unique. People love My Hero anyway, and I think that, you know, people for whatever reason, I'm not sure I think the reason why people love Demon Slayer is a lot of it's Nezuko, I think, honestly, and then I think that a lot of it's how it looks. But that doesn't mean that it's not, you know, that doesn't make it mediocre though, you know, just because it's paint by numbers. But
yeah, the story isn't anything new. It's not exactly groundbreaking, but a lot of times people will love shonen for the fight scenes and also the characters, sometimes the art as well. I mean, it has other things going for it, but it's a simple story. It's got to appeal to a younger crowd, so I don't know. It's pretty standard, but
Have you heard how good that OP is, though? I think
it's
that
amazing.
alone, deserves to be in some like the
Yeah,
top
if we're
3
talking-
discussion.
Yeah, for sure. If we're talking about like the anime and taking the manga out of it, it has so much more going for it. That
The polish?
animation, of
Yeah.
course, boosts it pretty up high, and the music as well. The direction is really good too. I don't know. It looks awesome. So even if the story's boring, it looks cool.
Yeah, even though it's not my favorite shonen, I wouldn't poo-poo anyone for
Yeah.
liking it. I'm sure it's brought a lot of people into the fold, so good on you, Demon Slayer.
I've been watching Inuyasha lately, and I've been actually enjoying it quite a lot.
Oh no!
I'm on like episode 55 or something, but
I can't wait to talk about that with you. Let me know next. What have we been watching?
well, for
We'll
God's
geek out about
this is epically like it was with Yu Hakusho. I think I've seen the first 50 episodes of Yu Hakusho or of Inuyasha like 30 times, but I have never seen anything past like episode 50 or whatever. But like it's even Inuyasha is a lot like Demon Slayer. They're just gonna run around and hack up another demon every episode. That's pretty much it. The reasons might be different, but we're getting revenge instead of hunting jewel shards, but we're still hacking up demons every episode. And
Hey,
and
don't
by the
put Demon Slayer in a box.
well, don't put Nezuko in a box, okay? Oh,
Isn't Sesshomaru just fantastic?
he
so
is,
lovely.
and he is, and I'll say
He's great.
Inuyasha himself and Kagome are a little insufferable because
Oh my god,
he's
Inuyasha's
such
the worst. I
he
hate him
is
so
oh
much.
boy he is
He got a little bit better
Oh.
as the series went on, but at the
I don't
beginning, I was
believe
like,
you.
"Oh, he
I
is
don't
so
believe you.
annoying."
he's a
But
total
Sesshomaru, though, mwah.
Inuyasha's a total player and it's terrible. Poor Kagome.
My boy might hate humans. It's cool though. Sometimes we relate to each other.
All right. Okay, Mason, your shining moment. It's here.
My shining moment that I have done zero prep for because I've been running all over the place this weekend. But nonetheless,
Your whole
And
life
I'm
is
trying my
prep.
best to
you're
help
just
you
gonna.
out.
Your job is just rein me in because, like the last studio spotlight, where all we did was talk about Studio Shaft and Akiyuki Shinbo, today we're going to be talking about Studio Science Saru, and by default, the guy who kind of helped create all of that, Masaki Yuasa. So, for those who are new, he's my favorite director by country mile. I love just about everything he does. So, we're just gonna run through kind of the stuff he did and then how that turned into Science Saru and what they have done since. So, do you want me to do the history or does someone else want to take that first?
Oh, I'm definitely going to give that honor to you, Mason, for sure.
Oh boy.
Yes.
Okay.
I wrote down some key notes for you because I figured you were busy.
Oh, I appreciate it. So,
You
so Yuasa started in 1987 as an animator, and he's done a bunch of key animation on a lot of things. But the first thing he's done as a director proper was the pilot episode for a show called Vampirian Kids in like 1999. And this is probably the only thing of his that I haven't watched because he
Same.
didn't go on to do the series itself. He was like a layout guy on that, but he did direct that technically. So I guess I probably should to get my Yuasa Street cred card updated. But besides directing, it's worth noting all the other things he touched on, just in case you saw those things and you're like, that was a weird segment. We can say, oh, well, that weird segment was because of him. He's done guest directing on Adventure Time, on Space Standy, episode 16. He did My Neighbor the Yamadas animation on there. And as
Hell
well as
yeah.
in Samurai Champloo, the scene where Mugen like trips out and is like
Yeah.
exactly the moment you're thinking of. He did like that whole scene by himself.
I saw
So,
that before I knew who Yuasa was, and then after seeing more Yuasa, I was like, "Oh yeah, I definitely see that now." It was funny because when I watched that originally, I was like, "That was weird. who did that?" And then later on, I was like, "Oh,
oh,
I get
it's
it now."
My boy.
yeah." And yeah, he's done a whole lot more, but I just put down the ones that were like, really popular or well-known series. So
Yeah, like he's done like Super Shiro and some like weird knockoff and some
Yeah.
like Crayon Shinchan, but like so few people have seen that it's not worth like diving into that discography.
Yeah.
So we'll figured we'll start off with the major works he's done, and then move on to Science Saru itself. So I don't think this order is in. Is this in chronological order?
Not really.
Okay, well, we'll just send it then. So
Send it,
first
baby.
up- and I'll try to give the ones that I think are like must watches or just a little bit of stuff. And if you guys have seen anything, jump on in. So first up is the movie Mind Game. Have either of you guys seen this?
Yes.
No.
It's really good too.
This is a phenomenal movie that I do not recommend to a lot of people. This is Yuasa given a budget and all the resources to run wild, and that's exactly what it did. It's a bunch of like unconnected story beats with weird, trippy animation nonstop, weird pseudo-sexual moments, weird color palettes, just a concept like barely a plot holding it together, but nonetheless a visual experience that is just unforgettable.
Yeah. It is one of the weird. Yuasa shows, why do they have such weird sex scenes? This one and Kimono Zume, super weird.
And
Oh, and Devilman Crybaby.
explosive paint the ceiling orgasms.
Yeah, I think the sex moment of this, and obviously this is
This
not all the
orgy.
movie's about. I think they're like doing like double dutch like jump rope,
What?
but it's connected to their pelvis region, and they're
It's
just
super
whipping
weird.
it around. And this is all I think takes place while they're inside of a whale.
Whale?
Yep. Why, you ask?
Yeah, it's a very,
Don't ask.
very trippy movie, but definitely worth the watch if you like that kind of directing. If you need something a little bit more straightforward, Yuasa's probably not the one that you want to watch. There are a couple on the list, like Keep Your Hands Off Eizouken, I could recommend
That's
to you.
cute.
But if you don't like abstract imagery or anything, maybe don't watch this. But just as far as like the creativity behind it, it's super cool. So yeah, I would say check it out.
Raw artistry that I would recommend to people who have already got their feet wet in his discography. Next up is Kimono Zume, which actually I think it's the first series he directed and introduces the titular Saru, which is Japanese for monkey, that would go on to be the logo and figurehead of the Science Saru name. This is a weird, perverted take on a Shakespeare tale of two lovers from different families coming together, except these aren't just different families who have difference of opinions. These are literal like people who can transform into monsters versus people who are kind of like hunting those monsters down. And it's definitely, I would say it's a mid-tier Yuasa work. It is great. I do enjoy it a lot, but it neither is as beautiful and wild on one end or as plot-driven and intelligent as some of his other works. It kind of falls in between. I would definitely recommend this out just to watch the opening. I'm trying to remember the exact name of the song. I think it's like Azure Blue. But just the opening to this alone is phenomenal and worth the price of admission. It has like this really jazzy beat.
Yeah, I think this is probably my least one of his my least liked one of the shows that he has done. It was okay. It felt pretty standard, like the story wise, and again a very weird sex scene. But it's I guess if you really want to like complete all of Yuasa's works, I would say watch it, but it definitely wasn't one of my favorites.
This is definitely lower down the list.
Yeah.
And you guys are like, well, why are you guys like spending so much time talking about this director? Like, if he did some weird stuff and some stuff he really didn't like, well, we're about to get to like the stretch of shows in my mind that is like the holy trinity of everything that he is to me.
There is a trinity. Like there's a threesome of something.
These are like the best. Like if you're talking about classic Yuasa in his element, these are the three shows I recommend.
Oh boy, here we go.
Up is Kaiba.
Yes.
Which looks like you'd see it on like a, I don't know, Saturday morning cartoon show for like 8-year-olds. Like it's very poppy and happy looking, very bulbous characters that just look jolly and they're having a fun time. And it is such a dark take on humanity and personality and this future where your essence, your soul can be translated and transposed in other humans, and the mega wealthy and rich can like keep themselves alive through this transplant thing. And it's I don't even know how to like go into it besides just go in with no expectations and just let the constant waves just continue like pulse over you as you like dig into this world and just feel for every single character they introduce. It's so mesmerizing.
Yeah, it's super cool. I know I've talked about it before on the podcast, but I'm also just a big sucker for series that talk about like memories and like you're like putting your consciousness inside of another body. Like what does it mean to be human? Like if you can completely change your body, then are you no longer human? That kind of stuff. And this one definitely scratched an itch for me. It's super cool. I definitely recommend checking it out. But again, it's not your standard like. It doesn't look like your standard anime.
You know,
So,
Mandy,
sorry.
you might like Ghost in the Shell. Have you ever heard of that?
Oh no, I've never heard of it. What is that? Tell me all about that postmodern.
Well, you see, there's. Oh no, here we go with the postmodernism from way back machine. Yeah, so.
Yeah,
Kaiba is
definitely
great.
recommend Kaiba. Yeah.
And it's the beginning of the motif of the hand reaching out to the sun with the point of view of that character that he starts implementing in all of his works. And every time I see it, I glee with delight because it's so good. I love Kaiba. It is not a difficult watch, but it is not like action packed. It's not gonna like pull you in. You just have to be in the right state of mind for it. But when you want to be a little more philosophical and deep, check it out.
Adventurous. Also, another kind of weird, somewhat sexy.
Yeah, not
it's
as
a
prevalent.
trend here.
I think it's a point in his favor that I am not into that stuff. I don't like it in my anime, and despite all that, it's still, it has meaning, it has value, and it's a good time.
You know how fucking old this podcast is that I remember the postmodernism joke argument thing that I kept having with Chiaki like years ago, but we've been doing this for so freaking long. I can't remember what anime we were talking about. I
Ghost
can't.
in the Shell.
Yeah, it was.
Was it?
Yes, it was.
Why? But like, I don't even. I have.
But actually, it's about postmodernism, and I was cracking up.
I feel
the
like
whole
that was like
time.
a 40-minute long
It
argument.
was a long ass
And
argument.
no one gave an inch that entire time.
I don't even like.
It was really funny.
I don't even like. I haven't even seen a lot of Ghost in the Shell, so I've seen like.
So you're just talking out of your ass.
I don't
That's
even.
what we saw.
I'm not.
I don't know.
I guess I would say I don't even know which Ghost in the Shell property we were discussing. Wow,
great.
that's fucking
I
wild.
feel like it was as a whole. I don't know. It's watch Ghost
Jesus
in the Shell,
Christ.
people. If you for some reason haven't, watch the original movie. Do that and then.
Well,
go
it's
back to
amazing.
Rasta.
I don't know. It's just like, you've been podcasting for too long when your fans remember more about your own podcast than you do. There's people on like Twitch chiming in, oh, it's Ghost in the Shell. Of course. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. I'm glad you know more about me than I do. Fantastic.
Kind of world we live in.
Okay. Moving on. Thank you.
Next up, probably has the honor of my favorite anime of all time.
Oh, boy.
It goes back and forth with the show I'm actually about to mention next, and I think when a director has your top two slots, that means something special. But my number one anime is the Tatami Galaxy. It's based on a novel by the same guy who did The Eccentric Family and Penguin Highway, and it tells a story about a guy in college wanting to live the idealistic life that he always imagined college would bring him, all the popularity, all the girls, all the joys that he wanted from the world. It will come to him in college. He just needs to go out and live his best life, and every episode loops back as he tries to obtain that life, and he chooses different clubs. He's like, oh, if I'd done it differently, it would have come out better, and I would have experienced what I wanted. And it goes to probably have the most satisfying and immeasurably gratifying ending in any anime I've ever seen. I highly recommend this for anyone who has gone to college, is in college, about to go to college. I don't know. I can't even talk straight about it because
Too many emotions.
I know. This was the first anime where when I finished it, I stood up and I just was walking and pacing around my house. I actually had to go outside and just walk. I was like, this is immediately a 10 out of 10. I couldn't like contain how much this show meant for me, and the way that it's captured with these avant-garde set pieces, this weird color design, this metaphorical representation of a dude's penis. I mean, an amazing opening.
There's a sex doll. There's boob rock walls.
Yeah, exactly.
Of course, there
Yuasa's
has to be
just
something.
A big old perv. Look
Yeah,
at
he
this.
is.
He is. And despite all that, within lines of blistering fast dialogue that I promise you can get through. If it's fast, they'll either repeat it or it really doesn't matter all that much. But the whole atmosphere of the show, despite being essentially a loop, a repetitive cycle of journey and rebirth and discovery, is immeasurably interesting and proves that anime is not a genre. It is a medium, and it pushes it to its limits, and I love it so much.
I think I'm gonna have a tear in my eye.
Mandy, why is the show good? Don't hurt my feelings.
It's good. What do you want me to say? No, it is really good. I really enjoyed it. It's been a while since I watched it. I've only watched it the one time, but afterwards I was like, that was really interesting. I remember also kind of trying to piece together the story as I was going, and I had so many wild theories, and then by the end of it, I was like, none of those are right, but it was still pretty cool. No, it was really interesting, and it does, talk a lot about like in college, just trying to figure out what you want to do in life and how just crazy and chaotic that can be. So it's pretty good.
That was my Mochi Gumin hard drive that I keep on me to remember. It's very similar to Fooly Cooly in the themes of like swinging the bat, taking advantage of life, don't letting it slip you by, and it's amazing. It's definitely not the one I recommend the most of his early works, because that honor goes to my second favorite anime and one of the few 5 out of 5s that this podcast has given, which Mitz can talk to, which is Ping Pong the Animation.
Mm-hmm.
This is a sports show that is not about the sport, but it is about the sport, and it's got some of the best characters of all time. It's got an amazing soundtrack that I listen to this day, and tells a story about dudes playing ping pong and coming to grips with what talent means, what it means to work hard, and about life. And my blood tastes like iron, and this is probably, if I had to recommend one Yuasa work to watch to get all of his eccentricities and what he can put into a show, despite wonky looking art style, the animation is fluid and immense, and this is probably the one I would point to people the first.
Yeah.
Also, fantastic OP.
Oh,
yeah. Oh yeah.
I'd probably say this is my second favorite OP of his after the Kimono Zume one.
I don't remember the Kimono Zume one. I should watch just the OP.
It's visually not like that interesting, but the song itself is so groovy.
Well,
but, Mitz, what do you think about this one?
it's definitely been a long time since I've seen Ping Pong. I think we covered this one as it was coming out, and let's see, that was, what year was this? Like 2014 or something? Yeah.
14. It
Yeah,
was you
so-
and Graham, and he, I think, strong-armed you into giving it a 5.
Yeah, I mean, it's a show with just very interesting characters. You know, they're all very unique. They all have their unique problems, and it makes them interesting. You know, they're flawed and they're not cookie cutter at all, and so that's really enjoyable to watch. And you wouldn't think they could get such, as I recall, just intense action out of Ping Pong, but the depiction of the Ping Pong from the camera angles and the way that the visuals are represented in a very unique way, and not like you also like he's never done that before. Why would he be, unique in the way he presents things? But I think it's just we've had anime before that are based on sports where you just go back and forth over a net, so to speak. I think there's been a few of these. We've had them about volleyball, we've had them about badminton, all this stuff. But ping pong, it just does it, in my opinion. It's not really. I can't really put it up with haiku. There's two different, but like the way that the sport was depicted is just very fast and very kinetic, and it's just a good show.
I think,
Also,
but not a pure sport anime.
Pekka support, yay!
Yeah, Pekka. Oh yeah.
Pekka's great.
Yeah, Pekka. And the art is.
Yeah.
the art is just so unique. Like you can almost just look at the characters and the designs and just say, "Yep, that's Yuasa." Like you don't have to know. It's like one of those things where you can point. You can pick a Ghibli character out of a lineup of 100 characters and go, "That's the Ghibli character." And I feel like you can do the same thing with Yuasa. Like either the way he draws like these characters in Ping Pong, you would. Like you could watch Ping Pong and 30 years could go by and you could see a lineup of characters and you'd still go, that guy was from Ping Pong.
Yeah.
Like for real. So.
And it's probably the best character study show I've ever seen because it's so easy to watch it once and be like, oh, I liked Pecco, I like Smile, those were the main characters. Those were really good characters. But all of a sudden you're like, oh, I forgot about China and I forgot about Dragon and I forgot about all the side characters that all had this entire growth and cycle to them. And it's so phenomenally done that it really should be my number one, but I think Tatami just has that edge of personality. But Ping Pong, even if you don't immediately gravitate to sports shows, I give it a chance. I highly recommend it. I kind of glazed over some of the side works he's done. The I think it was a Kickstarted Kickheart like movie. It's kind of a weird like lucha libre love thing.
Yeah.
It's fine. He did a work in like Genius Party, the movie compilation. It's cool. It looks like his stuff. See it if you get a chance, but Kaiba, the Tatami Galaxy, and Ping Pong are like his classics that I'd recommend looking to.
Yeah.
And he, from these shows, developed such a style, such a cultural, way at looking at shows and anime that it kind of brought people together to form Science Saru, which is a whole studio kind of built around continuing his ethos and like letting his way at looking at the world persist. So him and producer Eunyoung Choi, who actually came to Anime NYC a couple years back when they were about to release Azokin. So I got to see her talk about the show and kind of the process of working, and it's amazing. So Science Saru came out, and right out the bat, I think the series they are most well known for is Devilman Crybaby, which dropped out of nowhere on Netflix.
Probably my favorite OP ever.
Another great opening.
It's fucking great.
More of just like a weird, like cloud tripping, like very dark visual, but a great human. Yeah.
So good, guys.
So catchy. Done by the same composer, Konosuke Ushio, who did Ping Pong and would go on to do Japan Sinks. But, I mean, a classic adaptation of Go Nagai's Devilman series, which has decades of lore and history and importance behind it, and kind of reimagined it for, a modern era. And yes, it still looks weird. The people still run very funny, but the darkness and depth of the series and the themes are so well expressed, despite the occasional rapping. I thought it was a pretty good show.
Even the original Devilman Crybaby had just such a good OP, guys.
Oh yeah,
it's so great.
They run really weird in that anime, like sometimes on all fours.
Yeah.
Like what the fuck? What? How do people do that?
Yuasa toes the line sometimes between...
He's a demon boy. All demon boys run on all fours.
Yeah, sometimes you're like, did he mean to do things like that? Or did they just not have much of a budget?
Inuyasha runs on all fours.
Does he?
Sometimes.
No,
I'm
he
sure
does.
he does.
No, he does
He
not.
gets on the ground and sniffs it.
He's a manimal.
Guys, he's a dog. Dog demon boy. All demon boys run on all fours.
Well, he needs... He needs to get over it, because I hate to tell you this, Inuyasha, but Kikyo's dead. Like she died, man.
Grow up.
Like grow up.
You'll never give up.
Kagome is like this perfect anime girl. Everybody's gonna agree. And,
I know, it's so obnoxious.
And fucking Kikyo's mean and dead. Okay, so
constantly tries to kill him. Guys, I'm sorry, I hijacked this entire segment again.
That's fine.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. But we agree, right? Come on.
Yeah. Inuyasha's the worst.
Kagome is A+, and Kikyo is dead. Okay, so get over it. All right.
Yeah.
Move
she's
on.
Made out of like grave ash and mud and shit.
She eats souls. Okay, she's not for you. Okay. Okay.
Mandi,
Grumpy as hell.
Is the Shomaru going to be the next art piece you work on?
No, I'm actually going to be... Man, my entire phone is filled with kimono references because I'm going to try a Kusuriuri. We'll see how that turns out.
Okay. Very
But
nice.
I will draw Sesshomaru, and I have this little like drawing aid that'll be his pose. How about that?
Oh,
For those just listening, that is such a sexy pose. You don't even know what you're missing right now. I've been
I know
playing with
exactly
it this
what I'm
entire podcast. I've just been playing with it, so continue. I'm so sorry.
Poor Mason, we
Devilman
hijacked him.
Crybaby. It's good. If you want a little more
Yes.
action and edginess, this is a
Edgy.
Yeah, it's a pretty edgy show. There's a lot of blood,
But
a lot of death.
I thought it was very subdued.
What?
I'm just kidding.
Oh my god. Well, was it the
It's
boob?
really good.
Was it the boobs like extending out of people's chests and biting off people's heads, or
I
was
saw
it?
someone's vajayjay just eat a man's head.
Jesus Christ.
It's really good, guys.
If you're the kind of person who's like, that's exactly the kind of like weird like late 80s like OVAs that are like rated R that just like they don't make nowadays, check out Devilman Crybaby. You don't need to know anything about the previous Devilman stories. You can jump right in, and it's a wild ride to say the least.
Honestly, it's like that nightclub scene is how I imagine anime would look if I just took a ton of acid and like watched an anime. So what would happen?
Every show he's done?
So what would happen if I took a bunch of acid and watched that nightclub scene? Would just my brain overload and shut off like a computer? I pull the plug out. I don't know.
It just might. Probably your own body would start attacking you.
Or maybe it'll go back to normal. Like it would just look normal all of a sudden. It turns into like old ladies playing bridge.
It just looks like the most generic shonen show. Oh, we got a little Dio posing going on.
Please continue. I'm so sorry. I'm just playing with my little action figure.
No worries. So Science Saru continued on. They made a bunch of movies. Night is Short, Walk On Girl. It's a pretty amusing story that takes place in the same universe as the Tatami Galaxy. You don't need to watch Tatami to watch this. This is a much easier watching experience. It's a little musical. It's a little song and dance going on. It's a little more fun and lighthearted. The best reason to watch it is a 5-minute diatribe at the end where a man is arguing in his own head about asking a girl out and about the not a failure, but just letting people know you care, and like kind of the embarrassment of like having such strong emotions. And just that dialogue alone is one of the finest scenes I've ever seen that I've connected with so strongly that I think I just burst out laughing out of just like the relatability of it. Pretty good movie. Check it out.
Kamiya sings. Kamiya Hiroshi sings in it as a man just as an apple. It's really good.
He does.
It has a great was it a hot pot scene? What were they eating?
Was it nabe?
Was it the hot sauce, the really super hot stuff? What were they eating again? I can't remember.
Ghost peppers or some shit?
No, it was like, I thought it was a hot pot scene. I can't remember what they were eating. It was like the eating contest where they were eating it and they were all like dying because it was so hot.
Yeah.
Oh.
I can't remember what it was now. Anyways, it was
minute.
really good.
Been a hot minute.
Was it takoyaki? I don't remember.
Pretty good movie. Pretty good. Check it out.
It's a really good movie.
Lou Over the Wall. This was like a knockoff version of Ponyo by Studio Ghibli. It's okay. I didn't really vibe with it that much. It's very lighthearted, very much a children's movie. A lot of singing and dancing in it. It's definitely on the lower end of the list. I don't know if either of you have seen it.
Nope,
No, I haven't seen it. No.
You're not missing too much.
Good to know.
Ride Your Wave. This came out pretty recently. This is probably the easiest movie to get into if you're like all this weird acid stuff and perverted stuff and violent stuff and fast talking stuff and sports stuff. It just seems like a lot to take in. Ride Your Wave is a very simple romance story that looks very clean. Like, this is the least trippy, obtuse, off the wall thing Yuasa has done, and it just looks nice. It's got some surfing in it. It's got some great food porn in it, and it's overall a very, like, you could relax and actually enjoy this movie for once instead of like having your brain firing at 100%. So Ride Your Wave, pretty good time. But the next real series that Science Saru did is Keep Your Hands Off Eizouken.
Yay!
Yeah.
And this is also, it looks like a Yuasa work, but it is a very easy plot to follow about 3 girls who try to make an anime at their school. They have a little anime club. I think we reviewed it, episode number here, and I think we all enjoyed it. It's a very nice look into it's a very beginner's look into kind of what it takes to make an anime and like appreciate it. And it's very sweet, very charming. Like Ping Pong, the strength is not in the plot of like, oh, will they or won't they make the anime in time? It's about the characters and the interplay between them, and it was one of my favorites of that year. So
yeah, I was really sad that I missed the review for that one, but yeah, it's so good. It's a big celebration for just animation, and you learn a lot of stuff about the process and how much like hard work goes into it. I mean, at one point they're like losing sleep, and like it was just a really difficult process for them. And but also just the appreciation and the joy that comes out of finally finishing it and getting to watch your final product. And it was really good. I thought it was probably one of the best that come out that year. Was it last year? Yeah, last year.
Yeah, last year.
So good. I definitely highly recommend that one.
It was a lot of fun.
And another god tier OP with Kanamori just drinking mid scene, and it's so excellent. I hope you guys have seen it because it is the most recent show that they've pretty much put out, except for Japan Sings 2020, which we might be doing an impression on today if we have time, which you can currently watch on Netflix, which we will probably talk about then. But Science Saru is a pretty new studio, all things considered. But when you look at kind of the legacy that Yuasa brings with him, it is one that hopefully has a lot of potential and is off to a strong start, I think. So hopefully I've made a case for why you should watch his stuff. And it's not the easiest viewing, but I think it is immensely rewarding if you put forth the time.
Yeah, I believe that I think at one time in an interview he said that one of the biggest inspirations for him was when he was first learning how to draw, or going to school for animation. One of his teachers highly encouraged branching out into different kind of art forms and combining them, and it really shows in his animation process. And he also uses Flash a whole lot. And I think some other studios do use Flash, but he almost primarily uses Flash for almost all of his stuff, which is super interesting because Flash is from my experience not easy to use. So it's super cool. Yeah, it's definitely different, and I think it's a really cool way of seeing someone who creates art and thinks outside the box in terms of
for sure.
It's super cool.
Yeah, that's one of the best things about Yuasa is the imaginativeness of the work. So it's not in the box at all. I'm sure he makes a point of that. I'm sure that's not why he's in the game. So
yeah,
worth checking out.
No. So
yeah, I guess now we're ready for our next break. Unless you have something else you want to add.
No. I think we've slammed it down their throats enough.
You did a good job, though.
I would just add that it's like I feel like a lot of like how it happens in sports, where you have like, to use a sports analogy, you'd have like these famous sports athletes that people have known for 20 years, and they start to retire, and then you think, oh well, like what is the new guard, or like who is the new, like who is going to replace like Peyton Manning and Tom Brady, like who are the quarterbacks that will like come up and lift things up when they retire, or and it's like, so when I think of that, I think, oh, okay, well, there's like Miyazaki and Takahata and some of these other guys that are pretty old now, and they're like, Miyazaki's, I don't even know how he's still working, but he's old, and he's not going to go for that much longer. But it's like when Miyazaki is gone, like it's going to be like, well, who is the guy? Like who is the guy now? That's like the legend in the league or whatever. And Yuasa is one of those guys that's going to be like the one that fills the hole, you know what I mean? And so like that's why you should probably go check it out.
Sure. Yeah. So now we are going to go into our next break, but we have a trivia question for you to ponder while we are away. And the question is, Science Saru has a new animated film scheduled to release next year.
Oh wow.
What is the name of the movie? But think about it, don't cheat, and we'll answer it after the break. Don't go anywhere.
We're watching you. Seriously, don't cheat.
Yeah, seriously, don't cheat.
Hey, Anime Addicts, Mitsuki's back, bringing you another anime news break. The official website for the Kyoto International Manga and Anime Fair confirmed that it's going to be returning this year and is going to be taking place at the Miyako Mess Convention Center in Kyoto on September 19th and 20th. So that's pretty exciting considering all of the shutdowns and cancellations we've had in 2020. 39 different companies and organizations are going to be taking part in the event. So as in previous years, the exhibition is going to be focused mostly on manga and anime works, stage events, art, workshops, merchandise stores, etc. Generally just a big anime convention, what you might expect. So if you're in Japan or want to head to Japan sometime this year, maybe you'll want to do it towards the end of September so you can catch the Kyoto International Manga and Anime Fair on September 19th. Next up, well, we talked about PlayStation 4, so I might as well talk about the Switch as well. The top 30 downloaded game titles for the Switch have been revealed in the first half of 2020, and the top 10 are Omori Chidi Soul DX, Good Job, Cuphead, Final Fantasy IX, Dragon Quest III, Sabaku no Nezumi Dankai, Guilty Gear XX, Futari Day, Nyanko Dai Senso, Final Fantasy VII, and of course Minecraft Dungeons, this being, again, the titles that are download only. Next up, My Hero Academia is getting an original net anime episode. So for those of you that just simply can't get enough My Hero Academia and want to see every single thing that comes out, including all the net animations and everything else, the episode's going to stream in 2 parts on Hulu on August 16th and will be found in other locations after that. So if you are a big fan of My Hero, you might want to look out for that. North American anime distributors Crunchyroll and Funimation announced on Saturday that the platforms will also stream the episode on August 15th, so you'll be able to catch them on there as well. The synopsis: in a brand new adventure, some Class A students are sent to hone their survival skills at a training course. Having yet to receive their professional licenses, they're eager to cut loose and have a little fun. They quickly discover that the danger they face is no simulation. It's going to take their combined teamwork, training, and quick thinking to surpass and overcome this assignment. So, sounds exciting. If you're a fan of My Hero, look out for that. And wrapping things up for our second news break here, the Doujinshi Convention Comitia announced on Tuesday that it has canceled its upcoming event, Comitia 133, which was scheduled for September 21st. They're canceling it due to COVID, even though this is happening virtually at the exact same time as what I assume would be also a very large event, the Kyoto Manga and Anime Fair, which I discussed in the prior news break. But they are nonetheless canceling this event and have started a crowdfunding campaign later this month, and have cited that the COVID-19 effects financially were so severe that in order to recover from the devastation, they're going to ask people for money in order to make up the losses, I guess. Seems like a lot of companies these days have forgotten that banks exist to provide loans, nonetheless. If you want to go support the event, you can go to the crowdfunding campaign and toss a couple bucks their way to help them recover. And hopefully things will go back to normal soon so we can all continue to enjoy our doujinshi and anime the way that we love. This is Mitsuki, and this was your anime news break, and now getting back to the podcast right now.
We know the truth.
It's written all over your face.
You're addicted to anime.
But it's more than that, isn't it?
Are you also addicted to the AAA podcast?
Get all the content. Early episodes, after parties, hobby addicts, hentai episodes, show notes, ringtones, and more by joining our $7 support tier.
Go to aapodcast.com/join and select the $7 tier to get access to everything.
This means you'll get an extra 8 episodes of podcast goodness delivered right to your ears every month. That's less than $1 per episode.
And that's on top of all the other bonuses like ringtones and show notes.
So head to aapodcast.com/join and select the $7 tier. Set up your membership and you're good to go.
この番組は jlist.com の提供でお送りします。
Hey guys, welcome back to the podcast. Science Saru has a new animated film scheduled to release next year. What is the name of this movie? Inu O is the name, a story about a legendary No performer. And I would note that a lot of his films seem to come to theaters, so you might want to keep your eyes open for that. I know that Ride Your Wave was in theaters, so...
I think they've already purchased the right to show it here.
So there you go. You'll be able to watch it in theaters when it comes out. So most things are better in theaters. So if you can do it, I recommend it. Just like I recommend writing a 5-star review. And here we go.
It's time for iTunes review.
You guys should write a 5-star review just for that segue that Miss.
Oh, you like that heat? I dropped that thunder.
I liked it. Anyway, if you like the podcast, we would be thrilled if you went over to iTunes and left us a 5-star review. It helps us rise to the top of the charts. And I don't even know what number we're on, but we love having these written by you guys. So this one comes to us from Pistet Primos. And they say it's a long-time gem. If you like anime and podcasts, this is the show for you. With wonderful hosts that know and love their subject, fun recurring bits like Does Mitsugi's Mom Know? Enzo's Notice Me Corner, and of course, Mandi's Manga Minute, you'll enjoy tuning in every week. AAA Podcast also has a thriving, welcoming community, so check out their Discord. Thank you, I agree, you should check it out. I've been a fan for years, and soon I'll be a patron as well. If you give them a chance, you won't be disappointed. I have no idea how Mitsugi finds such wonderful co-hosts, but I'm glad he does.
It's not easy.
It's not easy. So to Mitz, Enzo, Mandi, and Mason, from the bottom of my heart, thank you for making my anime addiction worse.
Aww,
That's right.
That was a 5-star review that I give 5 stars to.
Oh,
That
shit.
was excellent.
Thank you so much. I'm happy that my dumbness can entertain you and that you keep coming back.
So if you think you can leave one of equal excellence, or if you just want to say 5 stars, it's pretty good. Either way, we'd love to have your review. So go over to iTunes and help us out.
We've had a big influx of reviews on iTunes, and or really, it's like the Apple Podcast app, and I really want to get to 1,000 now. Like that's the goal now. I think like we were at like 680, and then like I blinked and we were at like 720, and now I'm like, oh, I want 1,000. I just want that.
Greedy.
I just wanted to say.
We expect the best from you guys.
I wanted to say 1.0K on there. You know what I mean? That would be good.
If we get more, I'll draw a picture for all the peoples. I don't know what it'll be. It'll be Sesshomaru in a sexy pose.
Sesshomaru smacking Hisoka's butt.
It'll be the profile picture. It'll be the profile picture of everyone in the Discord. It's going to take Mandi 17 years to finish.
Oh my god, that'd be insane.
All right. Well, let's do some mailbags. How about it, guys?
Yeah.
It's time for an almighty anime mailbag. Anime.
Mailbag.
If you would like to leave us a mailbag, go to aaapodcast.com. There's a mailbag button there. Click it, and you can leave us any question that you would like us to answer. So this one is from James T. Do you guys still think Neon Genesis Evangelion and the end of Evangelion stand the test of time as not only great anime, but great media? I ask just because it was my first anime and also my favorite movie and TV series of any medium. Yeah, I'd say so.
We don't know. We are waiting for it to finish. Please, thank you.
Yeah, true.
I know. Where's part 4? Give it to me.
Yeah, no, I mean, it was super influential. I mean, it has inspired how many series over time?
Who knows?
I would say so.
I mean, I don't know. It's the only thing. If you go to Japan, it's like the only series that came out, I don't know, more than 5 years ago that you're still gonna see everywhere. You know, maybe with the exception, like you might see Loop on the Third, like here and there, but like you will see Ava at least once in a trip to Japan. I guarantee it. So I don't know, like I just
short of short of Gundam, it's probably like the juggernaut of like
Right.
just everything has Eva merch in some degree.
Mech anime.
Yeah, exactly.
But
yeah.
oh yeah, it absolutely stands the test of time. I mean, both just as influential as it was, but don't laugh at me, Mandy, don't make fun, but it is a show all about the human condition. And if this show like no longer like applies, like humankind has like evolved to a new stage because it is fundamentally about humanity and the struggle we go through. So to it no longer be like applicable and like be like too dated to be watched would be ludicrous.
It's just funny. Sorry.
So that's why I said it. I'm here for the chuckles.
That gave me a chuckle.
Well,
All right.
You're welcome,
I
listeners.
just say before moving on that there's nothing quite like that first Eva attack in Evangelion. It's
Yeah.
they're not prepared, and it's epic. Okay, so the next mailbag is from Yotoru Vegeta. Let's get social AAA. Which anime/manga related social media account is worth following? Alternatively, what account would you like to take a peek at, or would you like to be on social media who is noticeably absent?
I wrote a ton of stuff because I follow a lot of anime people, and they're all so lovely. So I really like this question because we never really get a chance to ever talk about other people on here. I'm always wary too. I'm like, do people like it if you shout them out on your podcast? But anyways, for podcasts, I really like I really enjoy the Kawaii 5.0 podcast. They haven't put out a new episode recently, but I think they might have come back, sometime recently. I don't remember, but they're on hiatus for a while. But they're both really cool people on social media as well. There's also Manga Pod on Twitch, and they're also super cool, and they go over a bunch of different kind of manga, and they just have an entire episode every Sunday on just a different book. And they also continue it as well, so that's really cool. Random Sakuga on Twitter is cool, and I think they're part of Sakuga Boru, but I'm not positive about that.
Sure if they're affiliated or something.
I think so, but yeah, they post a lot of really cool scenes from anime and share the artists that were behind them, so you can also learn something from that. There's New World Review on YouTube and also on Twitter is super cool if you love Hunter x Hunter, because they're doing super deep dives into the franchise, all about Nen, all about the characters, all about the world. And currently the main guy who's running that, his wife is watching Hunter x Hunter for the first time, and she's doing an analysis of every single episode, and it's been so delightful because she's just it's both interesting, like very insightful, but also very hilarious. And also just hearing her like comment on things that haven't come up yet, like the answers to them, like, I don't understand this thing, that was really super weird, and then later on having the revelation, like how it relates, is super cool.
Where is his dad? When is he gonna show up? Oh,
it's been super interesting. It's so much fun. Also, there's a woman on Twitter named Maddie. I always feel so weird shouting out people on my podcast. I'm like, do they care? But her Twitter handle is that's raspberry, and like O as in just like the letter O, not OH. But she does super adorable art, and she's also currently watching Hunter x Hunter for the first time, and she's like drawing her adventures through it and all of her favorite characters and scenes that she loves, and it's super cute. So yeah, those are the people that I like. I'm through this podcast, I've met a lot of really cool people from other podcasts and social media accounts, artists and stuff, and they're all so lovely and delightful, and I appreciate it.
I'm too new to Twitter, so I'm like still like just dipping my toe in. So I think Mandy has a pretty solid list. I was just spending that mailbag thinking about the best girl from Eva. Starts with an R. You all know her. It's Ramiel.
Who?
Ramiel, the big angel that's just like a diamond that floats.
That's the best girl from Ava?
Oh yeah. Have you seen those edges?
What? I'm so confused.
Those
Ramiel-
angles, though.
Ramiel,
goodness.
so symmetrical, so based. Love it.
All right. Well, it's time for impressions. Are you guys ready to crush some dreams and
Yeah.
make some people happy? Believe. Oh.
Today, we're going to be doing impressions.
Impression time, believe it.
All right. So we're gonna be doing. We don't have a lot of impressions left. A couple of them never really left the gate. A couple of the anime never really got released or whatever, and so we're running a little low. We're only gonna do 4 today, and we're gonna start with ReZero. I think ReZero season 2. ReZero. I don't know if the anime really needs introduction. So I mean, necessarily, it's pretty much. God, I mean, I've talked about this already previously, but it's like one of the most viewed anime ever. If you go on like my anime list, it's like number 20. It's like probably a hell of a lot of people. Over 1 million people have rated it on here, so it's just ridiculous. But I mean, we have been waiting for a long time now. It's been over 4 years. It's getting the Attack on Titan treatment. Like a season came out, people fucking loved it, and then they were like, you know what? We don't really care. Like, you're going to wait 4 years, and then we're going to give you a piddly-ass 12 episodes. It's so cruel. And it's playing a little the same way for me as it did with Attack on Titan. So, like, I'm coming back to ReZero. I know it's a big deal. I'm just going to check, but I would bet my bottom dollar that it's by far the most watched anime this season, and it is. So, you know. But I'm coming back to it, and I'm kind of like, oh, okay, yeah, I remember these characters. I didn't do a refresher. I thought I might, but I didn't. And ReZero is basically about this guy, Subaru, who gets isekai'd away into a world where whenever he dies, he gets reborn, and he just kind of resets from zero, I think. And
No way.
Yes.
What?
That's
No,
right.
he's saved scums a little bit, so
It's Dark Souls.
I'm a safe scummer. I relate.
Shame.
He resets from zero, but like various events, like major events that happen in the first season, cause him to, when he dies or whatever, restart from a later point. So he'll like something will happen. I'm not gonna give any spoilers. Something will happen, and then it will cause him to restart from that spot instead of back all the way back at the beginning when he entered the world. And that's kind of like the point of the whole show, at least I think. And I'm coming into this second season of the show, 4 freaking years later. Actually, it's 4.5 really. And he's basically leading a caravan of soldiers. I'm really trying to not give like a lot of spoilers here because this is something that people might maybe not have watched, and might go watch the first series to get the catch up on it. But he's leading a caravan of soldiers, and the caravan gets attacked. And in this show, like the villains, there's like a lot of villains that are named after like the 7 deadly sins. So there's like gluttony, for example. And so in the first, right off the bat, there's a character named, I can never pronounce this person's name. It's like Cruche, Cruche, and Rem.
Crochet, my favorite.
Crochet, yeah, Crochet. We'll just screw it. Crochet and Rem. Rem is like the blue-haired maid girl that is like fan service to death all over the internet. There's like the blue-haired maid girl and the red-haired maid girl, and their names are Rem and Rom. And I would just venture to say that Rem has probably more erotic fan fiction of her on the internet than any other character in the last 5 years. But they get attacked, and she's not really that kind of a character though. They get attacked, and after the events of the attack, Subaru's talking to Amelia, who's like one of the main like half human characters in the show that's in line to become royalty in the kingdom. And she can't remember who Rem is. And Subaru is like, what? And he discovers that during the attack, Rem was quote-unquote eaten and erased from the world. So gluttony, I guess, so like very vague to me, but gluttony consumes Rem's memories and her name and pretty much just erases her from the world. The only person that can remember her is Subaru, and Rem is like in a coma, and she can't wake up. So, and Subaru's distraught. This is not a happy anime, by the way. Subaru's like distraught because he it has been like romantically involved with Rem, and she was, very loyal to him. And so like he can't fix it because the restart point has happened now after she loses her memories or whatever. So she's in like this big time pickle because she's just laying in bed and can't wake up. And Crochet, whatever the hell, however the hell you want to call her. You know what? If you don't want us to mispronounce your characters' names, give them fucking names I can pronounce. I'm just gonna say I don't know. And
Call him Joey.
Joey, whatever.
Like from Yu-Gi-Oh?
God.
Yeah.
Joey Wheeler. So Crochet's memory's lost too, but everybody else can remember her because I guess her name wasn't stolen. So, and then the next 2 episodes of this are more or less we're going on this quest to restore Rem to her, to being a human that exists in this world, and which involves them going to like a mystical town of like half humans, I guess, or it's a town. It's like a town on the mountain that's like basically like a burial ground for one of the like evil witches, and Rosewall, who's a character in the show that you'll see, basically forces Amelia to undergo a trial that, is apparently very difficult because no one's completed it yet, and Subaru rushes in to help her, and that's kind of when the 3rd episode ends. Anyway, so like that's kind of a weird disjointed impression synopsis because people that haven't seen this anime, I have no fucking clue what I'm talking about. And to be perfectly honest, like I was actually like unbelievably underwhelmed by those first 3 episodes. Like I'm gonna be dead serious. Like if this wasn't ReZero, basically like Attack on Titan season 2, I would fail this probably because I think in a normal season I would definitely fail it. But like this anime is just so big, and it's like I don't know, maybe the biggest anime of the year. I just don't know at this point, but I'm gonna pass it just out of like necessity. But I mean, honestly, like I was very underwhelmed by the first 3 episodes, and considering it's only 12 episodes of the season, I really was hoping for like a little more, But it's ReZero. I'm not gonna fail it in this season of all seasons when there's almost nothing to watch. So we're definitely gonna pass this. But if you want to watch, but this anime, you absolutely have to watch season 1. You will have not a freaking clue what's happening. This is not, I don't want to, so there are a lot of anime where that like you could watch 50 episodes and then just jump in randomly because there's not much happening. This is not one of those. So if you don't watch season 1, you have no clue what's happening. But I would recommend watching the first season as well.
Yes. Now this is gonna be a good story.
That's
I
all
need to watch season 1. I've never seen it.
I mean, it's good. You definitely need to watch season 2.
I hear good things.
Yeah.
I think it's just there's something about it. I was like, this doesn't look like my type of thing. But also, I thought that about Hunter x Hunter. So look what that got me.
It's not a happy isekai show like the Slime Show or one of these other shows. It is fucking miserable. Like it is not happy, but it is good.
It's worth checking out. The biggest problem is they got rid of the 3rd sister because you got your Rem fans, you got your Ram fans, but it doesn't have Ramiel, which I'm insisting is still the best.
Oh my gosh!
Can't stop her.
Can't stop, won't stop. All right, next.
Exactly. Next up was Enzo's. Ooh, that was an ominous
What was
sign.
that?
Apparently my anime list has malware on it, according to my virus scanner. So.
Ooh, nice.
Not surprised.
Follow me on AniList, and we'll shed that site for good. Anyway, Enzo's one of his picks. It's Ninja Collection. This is a 4-minute long episodic slideshow about supernatural events occur in the world until random people, which are eventually going to be ninjas or shinobi, I'm not too sure. They jump in, they solve the problem, they reset time, and then we get another episode. It's kind of a weird show. It's from the perspective of normal people who are they're afflicted by some supernatural occurrence. They say, "Oh no, help me!" and then someone helps them, and then it happens again. This show literally has as much animation as like Inferno Cop. It's all just like shaking characters, camera zooms, and filter effects. It does look cool visually for about 12 seconds each episode, but it's pretty laughable otherwise. If you've ever seen Yami Shibai, it's the exact same studio and same feel as that show.
Gotcha.
They did another short series called Kawaban, which I recommend much more. It's kind of like the Void meme, the anime version of it. So if you want like dark supernatural mystery vibes, check that out instead. But this show, like, there's literally nothing to digest. There's just no content there. The sound effects are kind of decent. The ending song is kind of vibing, but it's kind of like that Umayan show I talked about a couple episodes ago, that 3-minute horse girl show, where like it's only watchable because it's so short and such not a waste of your time, but like it's such a, I don't know, like fans who want like a brief stint into like creepy short stories might get a kick out of it, but it's a pretty easy fail and not worth spending much time on.
Yeah, I watched this as well, and I actually thought I was doing this impression, but it's fine that you did it. This anime
sorry.
was this was fucking horrible. Like, I mean, it has a 3 on Mal, and it deserves a 3. I mean, it is. My only saving grace is that the episodes are about 3 minutes long. It was wow. This is. Well, I don't know when we're gonna learn our lesson. Like whatever this stuff that this Yami Shibai studio makes, it just never seems to be good. So I don't know. I don't want to talk too much shit, but wow, this was really, really, really bad. So
How about new?
there you go. Goodbye.
Check out Kawabana instead. It's the same studio, but they use like some fun like little rotoscoping techniques, and it's funny because it's like still like a dark kind of jump scare kind of show, and then in the credits they have like really happy music playing and show them like filming the actors and actresses that would go on to be rotoscoped for the show you just watched, and it's like 2-minute long episodes, and it's kind of worthwhile just for that. But there you go. Ninja Collection fail.
Interesting. Well, I have The Millionaire Detective Balance Unlimited, which was one of Enzo's picks from the spring season, and I believe he gave a tiny little impression on it, and he was really wanting to pass it, but couldn't because it was put on hold, and it was on hiatus due to COVID, and so it's back this summer season. It just recently started up, like I think maybe 2 weeks ago, sometime around there. Like episode 3 just came out recently, and so I don't want to talk too much on it because Enzo already gave his impressions. But Millionaire Detective is what is being adapted by Studio Cloverworks. It came from a novel, and the director is Tomohiko Ito, something like that. But yeah, this one is basically kind of like a very over-the-top buddy cop like series, and it's about this man named Daisuke Kanbei, who is just super wealthy. He is the billionaire detective, and also this guy working at this crime prevention headquarters named Kato, who is voiced by Mamoru Miyano. And it's about Kanbei comes into this new division, and they become partners. And the first 3 episodes, which are the only ones that I have watched so far, are just different kind of cases that they come to. Like I don't really see like an overarching story through it. It seems very episodic so far. I don't know if that's going to change, but so far it feels very episodic. And like the first episode, when they first meet each other, and of course they butt heads because Kanbei solves everything with money. He has an unlimited amount of money to him, and how that came about, I can't remember if they actually said it because I haven't watched the first episode since spring. I should probably rewatch that one. I don't think they mentioned how he got that money, just that he has an unlimited amount of it, and that's how he solves everything. And Kato, of course, doesn't really like his chaotic behavior, because literally Kanbei will drive his limousine into loads of other cars, crash into a street lamp, and walk out and just be like, let's just write checks for everything that I hit. And Kato's like, you can't do this. But so like the first episode, they come, there are these 2 young adults who are wanting to rob this jewelry store, and but at the same time there's also a bomber in the area, and they accidentally end up stealing the bomber's bag that has the bomb in it. And so the detectives and the cops are chasing after these jewelry thieves who didn't actually steal any jewelry, but they have like this huge high-speed chase, and they're thinking, why are they why are they going so over the top for us, not knowing that they had a bomb in their bag? And so by the end of it, they do end up throwing the bomb and also Kato over a bridge.
I'm picturing like a big cartoon, like TNT, like sticks of dynamite thing.
Yeah. That have like money symbols.
Yeah, Mr. Moneybags over here.
So like the second episode, they tried to capture these like drug lords, and Kanbei's solution to it is that because there's so much so many things that they can't do because of ownership and stuff, Kanbei's just like, you know what, I'll just buy the whole building. And so he buys the buildings, and then they're able to raid it and get the drug lords that are in there, because he doesn't waste time. He's like, I just solve everything by writing everyone checks. And it has kind of like a James Bond feel to it, because he has all these crazy gadgets that he can use. And yeah, and then like the third episode, which was actually so silly. It actually made me laugh because it was so stupid. But there's this guy who takes all of these women hostage on a train, and so they're trying to they look into why he has actually taken the train hostage. But Kanbei's solution to it is that all of these women on the train were trying to get to see their favorite idol boy band, and Kanbei hires the band to play outside of the stuffed train, so that all the women go insane. End up like attacking the guy who took them hostage. It's stupid. It's so silly and over the top, and it's very cheeky. But I mean, yeah, I've been having fun with it so far. I don't know how well it's going to hold up, because I don't see any kind of, I don't know, kind of overarching plot to it. It just seems silly, and I don't know how these two are going to develop their friendship. Kanbei has become, he was the talk of Twitter for a while, because everybody was going so thirsty over him because he's drawn very sexy. And yeah, it's okay. I think the music's also really good. I think in a normal season, though, I would have failed it in favor of other things, but out of what has come out this season, it's definitely one of the ones that I'm like, yeah, I don't feel any pain watching this. So I am going to pass it for review, but I could see it becoming very mediocre later on. I'm not sure, but we'll see how it develops. But so far, it has given me a lot of chuckles. It has sort of a kind of James Bond sexy feel to it, so we'll see.
I don't think I've ever been this excited. You're excited? Feel these nipples.
Yes, he's Batman. Outlaw from the chat.
He Batman though.
That drop just reminds me of that episode of South Park where the cable people like unvelcro the flaps over their nipples and they just rub their nipples. Have you guys seen that?
Yeah.
It's like, oh, you can't just get a few channels, zip, and then you gotta get all of them. So sorry. Anyway.
So last impression of the day. I'm checking our time to see how much time I have to.
We're doing good. We're doing good
to play around with this. This is Japan Sinks 2020. This was Enzo's #1 pick. This dropped on Netflix exactly a month ago on July 9th, 2020. So this is the newest thing by Science Saru, the studio I just gushed about for 20 minutes earlier. And the word fan is short for fanatic. And the word fanatic means to be marked by excessive enthusiasm and often intense, uncritical devotion. And while I can't say that I'm ever completely uncritical, I would consider myself a fanatic for Masaaki Yuasa and what he does. I hope I made that point clear earlier. And starting the show up, I was so ecstatic with excitement. Like, it starts off with this absolute treat of opening credits. Like, it has this experimental but unique art style with these easy to follow visuals of this family getting ready for their day. And it has this gorgeous, lush song that's like relaxing and driving at the same time. and the credits come rolling in, and you see like Young Choi, producer, and I'm like, oh, I love what she's done. Then Konosuke Ushio, who's on soundtrack and music, I'm like, yes, he's back. Eriko Kimura, who's like the sound director on a bunch of good stuff and classic in the industry, and finally director Masaki Yuasa. And all these names come, and I'm like, yes, I'm so hyped. It's off to such a good start. I can't wait to watch this show. I've been excited for it for months, for as long as I've heard about it. And then the show started, and it is a disaster. Not because it tells the story of an extreme disaster.
Literally a disaster.
Yeah, show is not bad because Japan gets hit by like an earthquake and tsunami so large that literally the country, true to the title of the show, is sinking into the Pacific. But the storytelling, the characterization, the visuals, just about everything that makes an anime competent is not found here. And it's so frustrating because of the talent and history of all the people involved. And after watching one episode, like, I was stunned that anyone could continue it. Like, it was egregious in so many ways that I was like genuinely laughing with how it continued to one up itself and how incompetent it was at just about everything. And a disaster story at its heart should be about the characters and, you know, their struggle to survive and what it means to them, and what, you know, what do they have to live for and fight for, and what like keeps their humanity intact. And it follows the family, the Muto family, which is a father, a mother, and a boy and a girl, and essentially all the horrors and chaos and bloodshed that this earthquake inflicts upon them. And you have this, what should be a character-based show, with the most archetypal, basic, and unrealistic characters I probably have ever seen. Like, they act like aliens were stuffed into meat suits, and they're like trying to integrate with humanity. Like,
maybe they were.
Like, there's a moment in episode 1 where like you see people of all ages just drowning, being flung off helicopters, crushed by buildings, like ripped apart in explosions, and like all this stuff is happening. And within that 5-minute time span, the mom's like, hey family, we're all still alive, let's take a selfie together. And it's
I mean,
what I mean, I guess but why? Like, it's
you
so,
just came to Twitter, Mason.
yeah,
You don't understand.
it's so wild. And this mom, like, seconds later pushes her son, who can't even swim, like off a cliff into water because no reason at all. Like, the mom goes on to be probably one of the most casually terrible characters I've ever seen. Like, you can make a comment after watching the whole show that she was trying to stay positive and keep the family together. No, nothing justifies how terrible every single character in the show was. Besides the perhaps 360 no-scoping grandpa, that's a pretty cool scene. Besides that, it's bad. It's just terrible. Everyone around this family is just cardboard characters that are just there to die, with terrible voice acting, both subbed or dubbed. Not because the performances by the actors are bad, but just the scripting itself, with like faux sensitivity and like random English phrases and just stupidity. And I don't know, like, the English doesn't sound natural, subbed or dubbed. Like, they're just missing particles and like tenses, and in the subtitled version they don't translate what things mean properly. For one example, they meet people who do kintsugi, which is when you take pottery that has been damaged or broken and you repair it with like gold or something to replace the cracks, and use gold or silver or platinum to take something that was once broken and repair it to something perhaps even more beautifully than it was before, which is kind of, you know, a metaphor for what Japan needs to go through to repair itself. And they translate to saying, this is, you take pottery and you turn it into pieces of art. It symbolizes how Japanese people care. And like, has nothing to do, it doesn't capture the depth and metaphor of what they were going for. And there's just so many oscillations in the show between it wanting to be taken seriously with edgy deaths and like impractical like moments of science, versus like it's trying to stay lighthearted with like this cringeworthy levity. Like, the tone just falls flat in either direction, and it hurts to watch. The deaths are just there for shock value. The whole show is just shock value with no explanation. Nothing makes sense. I don't know, like, the visuals are also horrendous. Like, they don't express anything well. There's just still frames constantly. Just buildings are vibrating like your phone would. Like, that's not how buildings move. Like, they have weight to them, and they're just like shifting along the landscape. The deaths, because of like the sound effects, come off as more hilarious than gruesome, and the editing kind of removes cause and effect, and we just get effect when people die, and you're like, well, why did they die? Like, it doesn't even have the basic storytelling components. Like, I can't stress on how many complaints I have about this show, and I could go on for so long, but it was grueling watching, and I watched the whole show. I kept on wanting to see what people saw in it, and it was just miraculously bad. And essentially what happened was this was pretty much entirely done remotely during the COVID pandemic, and it seemed like Yuasa's involvement essentially boiled down to the initial storyboards, and then it just kind of went off to the animators without much creative oversight, and I think the pandemic had a role to that. And sadly, like, his name is still on the project, and regardless of his involvement, like, I can understand the struggles that this thing had to go through to get made. And yes, the last couple episodes did start to redeem itself. The last 3 episodes are not bad, but to sit through the 7 episodes that came before it, I wish that upon no one. And not just because it was a disappointment was the show bad, it was just awful all the way around. We're not going to watch the show. I'm going to fail it, but it's definitely been...
Did it teach you anything about the human condition, though?
It did.
Postmodernism?
It didn't have much postmodernism, but it had some human condition stuff in there. But
oh, okay.
It met the bare requirements in a couple moments, in a couple episodes, and that was it. But like I said, it does have a 360 no-scope grandpa from a wheelchair with a bow and arrow. And,
shit, my dude.
So watch that GIF online, and you're set. So Japan Sings 2020 is a fail, is big sad, and I'm sorry to have to say all that bad stuff.
Did they live happily ever after?
Of course, Elizabeth.
What a pile of shit.
I mean, that sounded pretty good. I think I'm gonna go watch it now.
Or you could say, you know what, I passed it and I watched the whole thing, and that was the review. 1 out of 5. There you go. Whichever you prefer.
1 out of 5.
All right, so I think here's what we have. Here's what we've passed now. We've passed ReZero Season 2, Decadence, the Misfit, the Millionaire Detective, Misfit of Demon King Academy, Rent a Girlfriend.
Heck yeah.
Great Pretender, so that's 6. And we have a bunch of these left. So we have Doku Hentai HX Eros, Fire Force Season 2, Gibiate, I guess. However the hell you say that.
Gibiate. I think that's how it's technically said, but I like Gibiate.
Gibiate, you know.
I guess Yu Yao is never... Is that...
I haven't been able to track that down. That was like a Chinese animation, I think.
Peter Grill and something. And then Cho Futsu Toshi Kashiwa Densetsu. Which...
That also I could never find. I think it was just like a little flash animation. I don't know. That's what it looks like to me, but I don't think anyone bothered to translate it because there's only like a 2-minute short.
Well, I mean, in any event, the title is like unbelievably run-of-the-mill legend from Kashiwa. Like, okay. It doesn't even sound interesting, so
that one also probably won't get an impression.
Yeah, so next week we're probably going to do HX Eros, Fire Force, Gibiate, and Peter Grill. That's what we got left. 2 of them can pass, but not necessarily 2 of them will need to pass. We could always do a retro review. So
all of mine are done. Like like I have already done all my impressions. So if you want me to pick up one, just let me know.
Okay, that sounds good. All right, well, in that case, we are done, guys. So
yeah, thank you so much for coming, guys, and sticking with us through the whole thing. We almost ended at 2 hours.
Boom.
I think we will. I think we'll be right on time.
Okay, well, thank you so much, guys. I'm gonna hurry up and get out of here so we can get up for 2 hours.
Special edition hentai review.
Oh, hell yeah.
We are going to talk about the interspecies reviewers. It's gonna be fun.
Oh yeah,
it
is.
It's a very silly show.
I like it.
But thank you so much for joining. Please follow us on, subscribe to us on iTunes and leave us a review. Let us know what you liked and disliked and help us to get better. Join us at aapodcast.com/join. And our Twitter, I am Mandy X Mandy. So come follow me for now. I'm sharing art and other Hunter x Hunter stuff. It's just all Hunter x Hunter. That's all I ever do in my life.
What else? What else do you need?
Nothing else, apparently. What are your Twitter handles, guys?
I am at Pope Mitsugi, and I pretty much have just been liking PlayStation 5 stuff now for a while, so starting to sound pretty promising, I'll say, but we'll see.
And you can find me over at Macy Pacey. I just talk about anime most of the time and share an occasional pupper pick.
Pupper pick. But thank you so much, guys. We love you, and we will see you all next week for our last round of impressions.
Bye, guys.
Bye, guys.